so pious and moral, even now.
Is that what you think?
Your father always thought he had all the answers, but he had none. Nothing but clever ways to kill. The Hammer of Dawn, Jacinta, and now this. And his arrogance finally killed him.
Feel that? That's from Dom. And everyone else you killed, you bitch.
Collision.
Yeah. Feel like I don't give a fuck no more. Feel like fuck everything, man. Fuck everybody. Fuck the social media shit. Fuck the TV. Fuck you. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck every nigga that dislike me. Bougie bitches is feisty. Only fuck with niggas with large paper. That pussy pricey. Sleeping on these niggas with dreams. When that man blow, you only on his dick for the cream. You fucking slut. Fuck the Instagram thought to shake her ass every post. Attention craving bitches all do the most. That pussy gross. Do some soul searching. Your kids just
Hello.
You hardly pay him any mind. You shake your ass at the
My
club.
faithful
Hey, fuck the
followers.
insecure lame niggas thinking they hard. He posts his dirt on Facebook. Pussy
Glad to
nigga,
see you return for another episode of ShitYeah. Grab a chair. Sneak up to the campfire. Get warm. Let's have a little chat. Oh, everybody has been good since the last time I checked in. A lot of stupid shit's been going on in our community, though. We're gonna stay away from that today. But first, this episode is brought to you by King Palm, the only smoke fit for a king. If you go to kingpalm.com right now, you can get 15% off with code KPGINU. That's right, 15% off your entire order. Sick of buying them shitty blunt wraps? I'm telling you, get off the tobacco and pick up the palm leaf, like I did. Anyway, the art of free movement. I was very excited to get to this episode because it's important to me, with the few remaining episodes of ShitYeah, that I utilize this time as a way to communicate what I believe is the collective community and all of its feedback, what's most important moving forward. Everything that we're looking for in Gears 6. And I should say Gears of War 6. I would sunset that decision and yeah. And in this segment, we are focusing just on movement. It's been a very contentious topic from the beginning, more so ever since they did the tuning that basically slowed down the game. That's the delicate way of putting it. There's much more nuance to the conversation than that, but today's conversation is not that. We're talking about the art of free movement. And what does that even mean? It's a good question. I think people get this concept confused all the time. They have their own belief as to what free movement is, however, it's constrained by the box that they put themselves into. What I mean by this is Gears of War is dated because we're still looking at it through the same lens. And until we can overcome this primitive approach to the entire design process, we're going to be stuck in the same feedback loop. But I don't need to go on forever. If you're here, I'm sure you agree. That's why you support the content. And I appreciate that. Now, I've played this game from the beginning for a long time. Every iteration, every update. There have been some things as the game has evolved that have become more mainstream, less of a precise skill move, and more accessible. A good example of this is Lefty. In Gears 1, the only way that you could get Lefty was to hard aim off cover. Now in Gears 2, they made it that if you glitched your hard aim a certain way, you could hold the left stance. And this was expanded on in Gears 3, where there was a little more consistency to being able to hold lefty. Gears 4 and Gears 5, it's very easy to hold the lefty stance now. However, you still are required to hit a cover before you can change your orientation. Now, when the limitations of design working out of a dev kit were there, I can understand not being able to stretch your imagination past the limitations of said hardware and go beyond what you're given. You know, when you're given lemons, make lemonade. And the original Gears of War was something fantastic that pushed the bar in ways people don't appreciate anymore. It doesn't matter in this day and age because the way power works and what we consider cutting edge and innovation, it's not the same. A lot of those things have already been championed on. There's new things that could be, their, main pull. Suffice to say, we do not have orientation swap as a dedicated feature in Gears of War. I mean, we're going on 15 years. 15 years of this game. And there's no dedicated orientation swap. PUBG has it. That's one of the reasons PUBG is still played today. Because players felt like they had so much control, even though their decisions had weight. Yes, it was very easy to get shit on like it was no problem. But at the same time, you always felt, despite being grounded, you had the potential to turn fights. And one of the coolest things I would do is this orientation swap dance during combat, where I would basically, my character's animation would be a wiggle, and I would be going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, just shoulder swapping with the gun. And it was a powerful feeling to do people like that, and to watch the camera change so rapidly. The excitement, the adrenaline, is very cool. Imagine, in Gears of War, if you had a dedicated lefty. No more having to hit the cover, pull off, and hold LT, what if you could walk around and hip fire lefty? No more worrying about what your shotgun is going to do when you pull off of a cover. No more complaining about gun orientation because you control it. It's going to make the game dirtier. And that's what we want, right? You want to look nasty as fuck when you're shitting on people with pure talent. That's one way to do it. You already kind of get a taste of that when you're wall bouncing. If you bounce quick enough, your character looks like he's shoulder swapping. Why should you only be able to do that during a bounce? Why not be able to strafe an orientation swap and throw in bounces with your orientation swaps? Why not? Get rid of right hand advantage. Something that's ruined the game and plagued it for quite a while. That's probably one of the only parts of the game that should be symmetrical. That way in combat you don't feel at a disadvantage. Because don't get me wrong, I love my lefty shots on cover. I really love when people push me lefty, especially now with this update. At the end of the day, I know lefty is weaker. That's part of the reason I like it. I just don't see any other option at this point. Because the movement's been so strangled. You've got to do something to give players a fun mechanic to use and potentially abuse. Now, if you have the dedicated lefty, which allows you to just not have to worry about cover anymore, or how your gun's going to react in a situation, now we can ease into the idea of shooting while bouncing. You heard me right. Shooting mid-bounce. I'm talking about you press A, and at any time during that slide animation, you can shoot your gun without having to cancel. You'll shoot and keep sliding. Why not? Why not? You really want to talk about momentum? If we're throwing in orientation swaps and a dedicated lefty, shooting while bouncing, imagine doing a little wiggle strafe, roadie strafe into a bounce, and you're playing Tetris with these motherfuckers. And this is where you start getting into the high actions per minute. If you're not familiar with that term, APM, it's typically reserved for PC games, but you can use it for pretty much anything in general. But it's basically how many things you do in a minute. And the lower the number, the worse. So, like 90, 100 is pretty average, pretty decent. And trust me on this. If you can put in worthwhile input at a higher rate than your opponent, it means you're reacting quicker and you'll win. There's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Data is playing this particular species of alien. They're really advanced, and he keeps beating Data, which is a sentient AI. Keeps beating Data at this game. And Data had to completely change the way he played the game in order to frustrate the other alien into forfeiting so he could win. Think about that mechanic. Now, if we can open the floodgates on this shooting while bouncing concept, now we can really touch back on a subject I've been meaning to give more of a center row to, and that is the weapon slide. Very proud to announce that video has 200 views right now. Might have a couple more. And it just goes to show the continued interest in the idea of unlocking movement. People still care about a mechanic from the original game that was a happy accident that you repeated in Ultimate Edition. I've talked to my personal friends, friends I've made in the community, competitive players that I'm not really affiliated with at all, streamers, content creators, programmers at the Coalition. This is a feature that would shake up the way the game is played currently. Nothing counters people who camp like a weapon slide. You got a sniper waiting to pop your head, not anymore. And you can still get away with it, and you still kind of hit somebody even if they weapon slide, but it takes a lot more skill. I mean, the game used to be all about being aggressive, pushing, rotating, not holding a position and hoping you win. That's the one thing that's changed a lot. There's a lot more running and cowardice than there used to be back in the day. And we can apply the weapon slide to other things across the board. If you can pick up a weapon on the slide, just like I've mentioned, we can shoot during a slide. Why couldn't we revive and slide? Wouldn't that be cool? Bounce into a wall and you get your homie up on the slide. I know it could be achieved. There's no way you can tell me it's not possible. This is how you really break down and reconstruct the game. Give the players that have been here from the beginning and new players a truly unique experience, because that's not what Gears 5 has been, nor will it ever be. It was a terrible game. It's been a huge disappointment. Now, with the weapon slide, trust me, I'd love to talk about it all day long, but really, how much more can I justify being aggressive? Anybody who remembers the execution days remembers playing round for round. You push the power weapon, that's the main spot that gets fought. And there was always a way to bully up for the power weapon, so don't act like the weapon slide wouldn't be right for the game. It used to just be a smoke stun instead. Remember that? Remember in Gears 3, the up A smoke? Pick up the weapon while everybody's stunned, shoot the boom shot at the floor and kill 3 people because they're right in front of you and there's nothing they can do. It was that Gears of War 3 was all about speed. Who could do that the quickest? It was all about jump as soon as you spawn. Well, roll, not jump. Roll as soon as you spawn. Run to the power weapon, and if you're the first one there with your smoke out, up A with the smoke so that you abuse de-animation and aim that smoke so perfectly that it blows up. You anticipate where the players are going to be, and you calculate that you'll have enough time to grab the power weapon and then swing kills. That was Gears of War 3 ranked execution at the highest level. There was no camping. All the montaging shit was in quick play. That's why I hated seeing anybody come to ranked and try and do that shit, hide in the spawn, only go for the sniper. I appreciate that you're making a montage, but get the fuck out of my game while I am trying to grind the ladder. You know, I didn't get top 350 playing with chumps who wanted to hide. It gets really fucking annoying. And while we're talking about annoying shit, the delays that we have in the game have come around to the idea that there's some restructuring that needs to be done. And I'm talking about major restructuring to the delays. I don't understand what's going on with the weapons anymore. Not sure how you can justify the way the characters feel versus the animations in the game. Because the way that I'm seeing people up A now, the game is ass. To quote my homie J. King, the game is ass. I don't know if you could even fix this game now. The change you made was bad. I actually don't think the game is any better. I've been against the shotgun change you've made ever since it came out. And to this day, I still don't understand where the shot is going. I have every other game. I'm not that fucking old. I'm not a feeble, inept fool yet. I'm still very good at this game when I have a decent team with me. That's why I was able to grind solo masters. As long as I got some decent randos, I can make it happen. I'm very good at predicting where players are going to be on the field. We call that field vision. Just making those anticipatory plays. Making the pickups. Crossing when I have to. Even though I despise the Lancer and you still hear people complain that it's too weak and motherfucker it's too strong, and I still have people on my side who agree 20 to 25 round clip. Because if we're going to talk about restructuring delays, we're going to talk about adjusting the Lancer. Yes, I still have people complaining. But I saw one of these posts the other day saying, oh man, the Lancer is so weak now. No, dude, it's not. Either you're not aiming, or you have a really bad connection, or a combination of the two. The headshot multiplier is insane. You get 2 people lancering 1 person, it's a done deal. There's really no other way to cut it. I would love to sprinkle some fairy dust on that shit and pretend it's not relevant, but come on now. And even in Gears 1, when it had a 60 round clip, it didn't feel like you were shooting that many bullets or doing that much damage. You had the potential to down somebody with the Lancer, but you really didn't feel like you were doing anything to somebody when they were rushing you. Maybe it was the lack of stopping power. Maybe it was no hit markers. Maybe it was the fact that the characters weren't glowing back then. All I know is the Lancer in groups is still a problem. And if you had a 20 round clip with 120 reserves, or a 25 round clip and 100 reserves, you would greatly mitigate the way people play, increase rotations, player behavior would change, and the overall health and longevity would increase. But you don't want to take a chance on that. I hope you do with the next game moving forward. I feel this was a critical mistake that was made with Gears 5, and going forward, if you decide to reshape this assault rifle and put it in line with modern games that do have assault rifles with 20 to 30 round clips, and that's okay. I am still leaning more towards 20 to 25. 30 is too much, especially with how easy it is to down people still. And when you have that problem with crossing, of course, we get back down into the 2-shot down meta. I can't stress enough that the amount of players who have quit because they're frustrated with 2-shot downs, you've basically eliminated people complaining about 1-shot downs, but now everybody's complaining about 2-shot downs. People are always going to complain about something, but this problem that people keep mentioning is more severe than you want to give it credit. And I'll be honest, if you would just swallow your pride on this one and understand you made a mistake, things could be okay, but I don't think that's what you want to do. Because I've talked to Armored JP, and he finally cracked the code on why the 1-shot down will not be in the game. Apparently, you have some rules set up by either Jamie McTaggart or Jonathan Taylor. Rules that prevent this kind of philosophy from being explored. They're so against the concept of a 1-shot down or a lot of these features. It frightens them. And I think that's the main thing that's holding the game back. You put no wall cancel into the game for GGZ. But you never gave this a shot, or a lot of suggestions people gave. That's fucked up. There's really no other way to cut it. A lot of people believed in you, and everything I've highlighted, just think about it. You humiliated people. You spent time bullying people, targeting people this entire year instead of really taking heart and making the game the best it possibly could be. I'm not the only one that's disappointed, you know. This game was supposed to be amazing. And it's like the people working there are so out of touch. Did you not play Gears of War 1? Did you never get your head popped from halfway across the map with 1 shot from the Nasher? I have a couple times, and I've done it to people. You didn't get mad. You thought it was cool. You're like, holy shit, that random bullet actually hit me in the dome and took me out. How you gonna be mad at that? I don't know. There's a lot of uptight motherfuckers apparently working on that shit. I mean, really. I want to know what's going on. But then again, I really don't. And unfortunately, we're getting close to that time where we bow out until we meet again. До свидания. But I love you guys. I appreciate you tuning in, giving me a little listen. Hopefully the consistency lately is appreciated. Next week's episode gonna be a little bit different. Gonna be focusing a little bit more on the lore. I think it's time to address some terrible narrative choices by Bonnie, the egotism displayed by this company. There are people that built this franchise up from the ground and poured their heart into it. And their legacy has been shit on by a bunch of virtue signaling, misandrist, fifth wave feminist, unable to practice what they preach, pious, as Mira would put it, cunts. All of them. I'm having trouble meeting anybody who is decent in the company. That's why I continue to be adamant company be shuttered entirely. This has been Captain Ginyu, a soldier so elite that even crying children are silent in my presence. And I'm out.